Who wants to do the prayer today? Well, Matt can still do it. We can do it from there. Okay.
That's pretty cool. Quite an honor.
Well, are we recording now? Okay, it is 1 o'clock. Why don't we stand, and before we start the meeting, we'll do a pledge and prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Matt, if you could lead us.
All right. God, we're so thankful to have this opportunity to get together even when we're separated by a couple hundred miles. Please give us wisdom to make good choices. In your name, amen.
Amen. With that, I'll call the April meeting of the Kosciuszko County Parks and Recreation Board to order. According to the agenda, our first item of business is approval of the minutes from Thursday, March 21st, 2024. Anybody like to make any comments or motions in regard to that?
I have a very small comment, and I apologize, I didn't catch this earlier. At the end of the minutes, in the matter of further discussion, it mentions that Mike had asked for something, and it was actually Matt, because Mike wasn't at the meeting. So I just thought I'd mention it. It's a very minor change.
Well, I would like to see what other projects are slated as well, so I think it still applies.
Don't be stealing his thunder. Can we just interlineate that and sign it anyway? Or do you want it retyped? Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Why don't you just,
Put Matt,
yep.
and I'll initial it. I've done these things before. Is black ink acceptable?
With the next item of business then is Triad Associates. Well, let's do this. Why doesn't everybody who's online introduce themselves just so we get sort of a base? Katie, I see you're on. Why don't you start?
Yep, this is Katie Clark with Taylor C. Williams Design Group. And I'm here to talk about the Greenways and Blueways Master Plan effort.
Great. And who all is here for Triad then?
John Nelson. Stu, I think you're muted.
I think we know Stu's here. Thank you, Stu, for being on. And of course, Matt Metzger's on as well. So pursuant to the agenda, Triad is next. So whoever would like to lead on bringing us up to speed on where Triad is, go for it.
Well, I guess I can start. I met with Steve Moriarty, Tuesday morning, and very good meeting. We went out and drove the site, and he and I have, I guess, agreed that this trail needs to start there at the bridge and traverse westward along the south side of the right-of-way. What I described to him is we would probably hold 5 foot inside the right-of-way with a 10-foot wide trail. He was fine with that. His biggest concern is drainage. There's the pond there on the east end that we're going to have to do some work, like a wall of some sort, to be able to put the trail that close, because the pond actually encroaches into the right-of-way. So we're going to try and gain some of that property back. Also, there's what he wants to do is if we do the 5 foot and have a 10-foot trail, he wants the ditch along the road reestablished, because right now it's about 15 feet. It's in the center of the grass, basically. I know I'm getting into the weeds here, but I'm just we talked about a lot of stuff. There's 20 driveways that we'll have to cross. 10 of them are currently paved with asphalt. The other 10 are gravel. So the thought was to make the trail surface an asphalt material, and then we would resurface, because we're relocating the ditch and all the driveway culverts. We're going to resurface all 20 of those driveways with new culverts. The material that we're talking about using is called PUG, and it's something that the highway department makes. It's really cool material. It's cheaper than standard HMA surface. So I think there might be a cost savings there. I think
Hey, John, could you
Yes.
spell that? I couldn't quite hear what that was, and I think everybody's sort of trying to write it down.
sure, it's PUG.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's basically, we drove it down to the Crazy Egg, and both of us were trying to understand where we stop the trail for this phase. Instead of continuing it, I think we all have talked about continuing it past Crazy Egg, but I think Steve and I agree that we probably need to end it for this phase at the Crazy Eggs parking lot. And then in the next phase, we would pick up from there and go into Atwood. There's some because there's a drainage basin in front of Crazy Egg with a lift station and some drainage structures that we have to do some engineering around, and it doesn't make sense to send it past Crazy Egg to what? They're just going to turn around and come back to the Crazy Egg. So in our opinion, he needs to stop at the Crazy Eggs parking lot as a destination for this phase. Jonathan, I see you're there. Anything you want to add as far as schedule? I know, Rob, you talked about the schedule, and Jonathan can speak towards that better than I can.
Hi, Jonathan Mullen with Triad. The survey, it should be, excuse me, should be done this week so we can begin drafting it. As John just made you aware, he's been out to the site and done some reconnaissance so we know which side of the road we'd like to be on. And we were talking about schedule earlier today, and I think that given the time frame right now, we're looking at probably a bid opening mid-July with construction starting in probably mid-August. But it should be able to be completed this year.
Rob, the other thing I'm going to throw in here is Steve wanted us to be a good neighbor and meet with the property owners. There's 20 of them. We were talking this morning about having a little informal meeting at the Crazy Egg with these, and send out 20 invites, have them all show up to Crazy Egg, look at the drawings, discuss any issues that they might have, concerns, what have you, and just kind of make them aware of the project and what we're proposing to do as far as their driveways and culverts.
Yeah, John, I think that's a great idea. I want to double check with Kerry Groniger about that as well and make sure that he's on board. So I'll get back to you later this week once I get a chance to talk to Kerry.
Okay.
Hey, John, it's Mike Cusick. When that work would be done on those driveways, is there an opportunity that the property owners can do improvements in conjunction with it? Not that it would be kind of this project's responsibility for additional improvements, but I'm just trying to think of, working with the property owners if some of those gravel driveways do want to go to asphalt or concrete, those type of things. Is that possible?
Anything's possible, but I would discourage concrete and keeping things gravel because the trail itself is going to be asphalt. And I don't think you want gravel on both sides of the trail because that'll get torn up. So that's why we want to do the driveways, redo the driveways that are gravel to asphalt so that the trail won't get torn up by vehicles.
Okay, so I missed that. That would be part of this project then, would be,
So John, what I'm understanding is, so we're going to go 5 foot off the road edge and then the trail.
5 foot off. No, let me stop you. 5 foot inside the right of way.
Oh, I was measuring the other way. Thank you for that.
Nope. Yeah, so 5 foot inside right away, 10-foot trail, and then we have 15 feet to ditch.
Okay. So are you talking then that we'd probably do asphalt essentially to the end of the right of way, since that'd only be 5 foot off the trail?
Correct. From the edge of pavement to the right of way would be asphalt at 20 driveways.
Okay. I'm glad you asked the question, because that was not.
So it's not the full driveway, but it would be,
It'd be our right of way though.
so we
Correct.
would be asphalting our right of way
Correct.
along their driveway.
Correct.
Okay.
They should be happy about that.
You would think that would, they'd see that as a benefit, wouldn't you? And we're gonna
Yeah.
fix the culvert, which could help for if anybody's got water issues.
Yeah, some of the driveway tubes right now are crushed and buried. So we're going to improve the drainage out there, which made Steve so happy.
And
so-
I think you had a
Yeah.
que-
So I
I'll let
have
Aggie
two
go.
questions. One is, how soon are you thinking we would want to have the meeting with the neighbors? And I appreciate we want to, make sure that Commissioner Groninger is informed, and anybody that would want to be there, we want them to have a chance. I'm just trying to get an idea of
How quick?
how quickly. And I forgot my second question. I'll come back to it. Okay.
So John, how soon do you want the meeting?
Jonathan, when do you think we could have some drawings to get in front of people? June?
Probably late May, third or fourth week. What we'll want to do is come up with the alignment, run it past the board to make sure that they're comfortable with what we're proposing before we introduce it to the neighborhood.
Well, yeah, that would really, I think, delay us, because if our next meeting's next month, and that's the first time we see it, and then we're gonna send out notices, and I'm used to sending out notices as an attorney. I think that we ought to peg this meeting and go. I think we all sort of anticipated this was gonna be on the south side of the road. Even if you don't have your drawings done, I think we could work off Google Maps, if nothing else. We sort of know from this conversation, from my standpoint, what we're gonna do.
I agree with that. I think even if it's 30 minutes before the meeting starts, I think we as a board should, if there's drawings or preliminary, get a quick view, just so we're all very much understanding what's going to, what the proposal is for the conversations.
Right.
Well, I think you don't need to have an official meeting. Once we have the alignment, we can email it to you in a PDF format so that you can open the drawings and look at it.
Yeah, and I think that's sufficient for the homeowners' meetings. Obviously, we can't take formal votes in that kind of fashion, but we certainly could look at your drawings.
And the
Yeah.
intention.
Yeah, yeah,
We need to make sure we bring like data that shows that this is going to benefit each one of them. Their house value is going to go up. Historically, that's been always true.
Right. Right. We've
So
got that in
we're all
our
kind of
article
selfish.
on-
If we're able to present that to them, it's going to be good.
Right.
My other question relates to utility relocation. And in this phase of the trail, I just wondered what needs to be moved, other than maybe some of the culverts that have been talked about?
The only thing that I'm aware of at this time and date is a utility guy wire that I'm going to coordinate with the power company to see if there's a way we can, because it comes into the right of way versus being along the right of way or into the property. So that guy wire will be in the middle of the trail, and we need to get that figured out with the utility provider.
And is, with how the plan is coming together now, do you think that the construction cost estimate you provided to us back in January is still probably pretty accurate? Or with these working on 20 driveways, is it maybe getting more expensive?
Now, actually, we had the driveway count. We assumed that we would be on the south side of the road. So I would say that the estimate probably will not exceed what we provided you, especially if we go with the pug mill for the pavement for the trail. So because I'm told that's less expensive than your normal hot mix asphalt.
It's just an open question before, I guess, the final decision is made on that material. It sounds great, but maybe we want to get input from Katie or some others that have experience on other trails. Because I think it'll be part of the Greenway plan of what types of materials and recommendations. So I'm not saying it's, not to do it. I just want to make sure, right, that it makes sense in our greater scheme of things that.
Hey, Mike, if I could interject real quick to your point, I talked to Steve about it, and this is a material that they are producing at their site, and they've been using it in street pavings in Warsaw, not Warsaw, but around Warsaw. And they've had very good success with it because it is flexible yet strong, and it heals itself. It doesn't crack as much. It's less maintenance. He drove me on a street they just paved last year over by the airport, and I was shocked at how smooth it was. There was no cracking. It looked like a chip and seal road, paved road, but he says they've had no issues with it in the past year. So I'm going on for Steve's recommendation. He thought it would be perfect for a trail. And since the cost is half of what HMA is, I thought it'd be a win-win if they could produce it, sell it to the contractor. They win in getting money for their material, and we win because it's a cost savings. Go ahead, Katie, jump in if you'd like.
No, we haven't obviously made it that far. So I think what I'm hearing, it sounds like a good alternative.
So I think if we have questions, we can always ask Steve to come to a meeting, and I bet he would be happy to. A little concern, John, one thing you said, it's like a chip and seal. Chip and seal is treacherous on a bike when it's first put down.
It looks like it in appearance, not the drivability was smoother than asphalt.
Great.
I'll find you the road and you can go bicycle it, Rob, and tell me if it's hazardous to you.
I would go out and drive it. There's not too many great places to bike around the airport.
Oh, I've done it. I don't.
Those that you're cautious of are in the city limits. He drove me off of his street onto one of their streets. I'm like, holy cow, what a difference.
Well, that all sounds good, and I really appreciate you giving the schedule. That helps a lot in knowing where we're at. And I think we appear to be on track with what we expected for that. John, do you guys Triad have anything else they want to report on?
I have one more
Oh,
question.
another
Triad.
question?
Yeah, this is Troy Turley. I have just one general question. Maybe it's for Jonathan. The last time that John was here, we got an overview about the survey process, and I'm just asking as a curiosity. The drone crash made headlines here on the newspaper, and I was just wondering: are we using a traditional method for the survey now, or is the drone back up and running?
A new drone has been purchased.
Okay, thank you.
And they went back to traditional to pick up the utilities, and that was another delay, was getting the utility locates. I talked to them on Tuesday, and they were still waiting for one utility provider to go out there and locate for them to go back a third time to try and pick that stuff up. So it wasn't all drone related. Some of the delay in getting the survey was part of the utility locates.
Thank you.
And one more thing to add, go out and drive east 350 north. It's on the north side of the airport. I'm sorry, east 300 north. East 300 north is what you'll see is the Pug paved road from last year.
Probably the good news is that's a high-traffic area, so you would know pretty quickly from the number and weight of vehicles.
Yeah,
Right.
it can stand up to the test.
Now, when you turn on North Airport Road, I will say be cautious because it is bad. That's a city street.
Any more questions for Triad? Matt?
Nope, nothing for me.
Well then, guys, I really appreciate you being on, and I think the next item on agenda is Katie.
All right. So sorry I could not come last month to give an update. I had a scheduling conflict. But we have been hard at work. So we had our first meeting, like a month and a half or so ago. A combined meeting, obviously, with the Parks Board and the Steering Committee. Since then, we've taken all that we heard into account and have started actually working on a variety of different things. Including kind of an updated route map and a set of initial cross sections for each type of the trail. And we're going to discuss that at our upcoming steering committee meeting on May 1st. So I know not all of the Parks Board is included in that meeting, but I think at least 2 of you are. So they'll be able to kind of bring information back, and then I'll be happy to share additional information at next month's Parks Board meeting if you like. The other big thing that we've been working on are kind of the public facing pieces of the plan. So we have updated the former comprehensive plan website, fordkosciuszko.com, and kind of rearranged some things. So all the comp plan information is still there, but now we're also kind of promoting the Greenways and Blueways plan itself. So there's information about the overall project and the process on there. As well as a link to where our input tools will be. So on there right now, you'll find one tool. We've created a digital map. So the easiest way to get there is to kind of go to the homepage, so fordkosciuszko.com, and then click on input. It will take you to the button where you can access the map. If you haven't already seen that, people are starting to populate it. We're basically asking, I think 4 or 5 different questions, and people can kind of drag little digital pins on there and tell us where they'd like to see routes happen. They can draw kind of lines on our digital map. They can kind of give us information on places they're already going, ways they're accessing the water, and kind of ideas for the future. So I've only sent it out to the steering committee, so I suspect 1 or a couple of people on there have started to populate it. But later this week, I'd like to go ahead and kind of do a slow push using our social media page to get that out to kind of the masses so we can start to see that populated. And then we are planning to have some information about the project and the process and start to collect some input at the Fat and Skinny Tire Festival. So Mike's been really helpful with our team member Lisa, coordinating kind of where that booth will be and what our options are for the 3 days. So we'll kind of launch heavy to the public at that event to get information out in front of everybody. So that's what we've been working on. But we're cranking on some pretty interesting things, so we're excited to kind of get it in front of the group in a couple of weeks.
So Katie, I've got a couple points. One, Mr. Sloan's here from the Times-Union, so I imagine that Ford Kosciuszko website may get more input after tomorrow's probable article than a slow roll.
We'll take it. Yeah, that's fine.
So just pointing that out. We were smiling at each other as you slid a slow roll out, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna be in the paper tomorrow.
That's okay.
Secondly, would you guys like board member assistance with your table at Fat and Skinny? If we're available, would it be good for board members to come sit? I don't want to intrude, but I am normally at Fat and Skinny the entire time and would be happy to. I don't know if I could be there all the time. Mr. Cusick tends to put me to work if he sees me standing around.
Got some work for you to do.
But I'd be happy to help out.
Yeah, later this week, maybe tomorrow or early next week, I'll be coordinating with Lisa Dunaway. She's kind of taken the lead on the organization of that. We've talked very briefly about what those materials were going to be. So far, our team will be manning an actual kind of booth on Sunday. I think in communication with Mike, he shared that that's maybe the highest kind of activity kind of date, just with the kind of the setup of the rest of the events. So we knew our team was going to handle that one. And then on Friday and Saturday, we've talked about a couple different things, including kind of just using a mobile display and kind of setting it up so that it kind of mans and runs itself. But I think we'd love to have extra assistance. So let me communicate with Lisa, and then I can kind of follow up maybe with the board and the steering committee too, if anybody wants to kind of help facilitate that and talk about the process, just to kind of spread the work around a little bit.
Yeah, Friday could end up being fairly busy as well because it's in conjunction with Third Fridays. So in addition to the bike crowd who will be there, you have, quite a number of residents, if the weather is nice especially, that will attend a Third Friday event.
Yeah, if we could get Friday night and Sunday, I think that'd be really great.
Well, I think that sounds like a plan. So we've been working on, so I don't know if anybody saw our mobile display from the comprehensive plan. We're going to kind of resurrect that structure. Just put kind of some high level overview information about the process and collect really kind of easy input. And that'll be available then to move around throughout the process, whether we have like facilitated meeting or not. Like if there are great spots that it can go, we can kind of leave it up in the county and it can be moved around. So we've been thinking about what to put on there, but I'll touch base with Lisa and we can start to nail down the scheduling, the details, and just identify what type of help we might need. We try to keep it as easy as possible. So it may just be standing at a table and smiling and talking great about bikes and trails, which I know all of you can do. So
just when you have the social media ready or sooner, the Ride Walk Committee, some members were asking me earlier today when other public input means will be available. So I think they will also take the social media links when available and publish it out on their social media. And I'll do the same for KCV and such. So I think once you're ready to go after the slow roll, once we see it, we'll be sharing it, I think, pretty quickly out there.
Okay, well, maybe since my slow roll might just be the time that this meeting is happening. This afternoon, I can go ahead and put together, normally we'll do a little kind of just graphic that people can use on their social media feeds. So I can put something like that together and then kind of pair it with a little kind of sentence or two to kind of announce the website update and the input tool, the map that we had, send that out to the committee. A couple of people when I sent out the website update and the digital map to the steering committee, I heard back from a couple of people. So whether they were the ones that added the points or not, I kind of sent it to them to work out any kinks, and I haven't heard of any kinks. So we can go ahead and kind of officially launch it, since it likely will be in the news feed tomorrow, regardless. So I'll get that sent out this afternoon.
I think what'll be helpful though, once you have your social media ready with not just a link to it, but what your expectations are when people visit it. Sure. Like, please comment, please identify certain areas, whatever that is, that'll help.
Yep, and all that's, if you visit the map, an instruction page pops up. So hopefully it's pretty clear to everybody, but we can kind of summarize that and what we send out.
Other questions, comments, concerns? Katie, where do you see us in terms of schedule? Are we still on this schedule that we originally laid out, do you believe?
Yes. I don't have it in front of me, but
Neither do
I feel good.
If you believe it, that's what I'm asking.
We're right on track.
Okay,
No, I think this second meeting was maybe delayed by just 1 or 2 weeks, and that's purely a function of just availability from when kind of the bulk of the group could get together. I think after we have this meeting, we'll be able to pick up a little bit more speed, assuming kind of the content goes over well, which I think it will. We'll have some cleanup to do, but I think once we get the committee to start to look at the updated route maps and some thoughts on cross sections, we can kind of continue to move a little bit quicker. So I think in addition to the Fat and Skinny Festival, we're still kind of targeting summer for the additional public meetings to kind of move that meeting location around the county. So yeah, I still feel that we're right on track.
great. Okay, thank you for the update, Katie.
No problem.
I think our next update is sort of the open part of the agenda. Anybody have any comments or questions they wish to raise?
I have a few things.
Okay.
Lucky everyone, right? I'm part of the steering committee for the Propel US 30 project. They're currently looking for input. They've created their first round of looking at the intersections. Right now, the plan is to use the current route and improve intersections. But what that means is, as they looked at the primary intersections, they have a few different recommendations in each intersection, which can help with traffic flow and reduce accidents and that type of thing. I'd encourage everyone to look at that. It's on their social media and comment, but there are a couple things that pertain to us specifically. Is this could very well narrow down the number of intersections on US 30, which means that, the areas that we can access for greenways crossing 30 will be a bit beholden to whatever that final plan is. So I say that, but we should also be influencing that plan, and I think that's a little bit for Katie as well, is staying up to date. But they're looking for input, and I think that's just something we need to keep in mind. We might reduce the number of intersections, which then funnels more, they call multimodal traffic, into those fewer number of intersections. And then obviously, we need to be understanding and maybe directing where those intersections are as it influences where our greenways cross 30. Hopefully all that makes sense. Right?
And what the intersections look like.
Well, that's
We
the
have-
other thing.
We have this construction that we think we need.
There's, they call them RCIs, and I forget what it means, but it turns, some potential like J turns, if you've been to Michigan and see those type of intersections, those are not multimodal friendly, right? You don't want to get on a major highway, cross a few lanes, get into a U-turn lane, cross a few more lanes on a bike or walking or even a horse-drawn type carriage. So it's just important before those final decisions are made. I think as our trail plan comes together, we're working with NDOT and or vice versa to understand where those crossings are.
Yeah, I went to the office hours that was at the Warsaw Library yesterday, and it sounds like the next level, which will be closer to a recommendation at every intersection, the public input will be in late August.
Okay.
And by the end of the calendar year, this Propel plan needs to be done. So there'll be a public input phase probably in August, and then again by November.
So it sounds like the timing could work well for this, our Greenways plan to coincide with that master plan.
Yeah, yeah. And definitely in the language that came out in this version, they're referring to us and the
Yeah.
work of the city of Warsaw in terms of trail planning. So that, and I thank them for taking the concept of biking, hiking trails into
Yeah.
consideration with what they're doing.
And if you look at the plan, they have put some greenway trails on there, which means nothing at this point because I think they were just putting there along 30 on the north side, which obviously we've never had any discussions on that. But when I ask questions, they're very open to multimodal, again, right, crossings. at those interchanges, and, they're looking for that direction for that. And there's some aspects for this group, obviously, because of it's part of our Greenway System and Trails Plan, but then there's just some general safe crossings for cyclists, pedestrians, et cetera, that are going to be needed at other intersections. So that was one item, so
Okay.
look for that. Just a couple quick updates. I think I shared before, I've met with some of the people on the Nickel Plate, which is the route in Fulton County going down from approximately Rochester all the way down to Kokomo. They are looking to expand north from Rochester to continue the trail towards Marshall County and Plymouth. But there's a meeting on April 30th. I've been invited to, if other members want to join me, that's great, to continue having those conversations with them, because again, we shared that we would like to be connected to that trail at some point. And then I've just had an email exchange. Carrie connected me to, I think it's Mike Burrows, who's the county commissioner for Plymouth, to talk about their greenway plans, because it's our understanding that they're starting to plan a greenway from Plymouth to Bourbon. And if we were to continue the Chinworth Bridge extension out to Etna Green and the county line, then we have an opportunity to have a much longer segment of trail that's connecting our counties. So I'm waiting for his availability. So I will probably meet with him within the next few weeks, and I can report back on that. That's all I had.
Okay. Anybody else?
I have.
Nope.
Aggie?
Just anything. Two quick things. A few months ago, we talked about maybe we would want to have a group that we can communicate to and provide updates to. And I know, Rob, you had said you would think about maybe how we might do that. And you're looking at me like, no, I don't remember that at all.
I've slept since then.
So I just wanted to ask if anything has been done yet, and if we want to put more effort into trying to figure out how we would do that. Or maybe we wait till after the master trails planning process is done and sort that out.
Yeah, I am completely at a loss. I don't remember. Now, I certainly did talk about fundraising groups and what that looks like. Is that what you're referring to?
It came up the day that we were talking about that.
Okay.
But just a way for us to communicate with folks that have kind of in one way or another opted in
Oh.
to get
okay.
information.
Yeah, now I know. Now I'm on board. Now I'm on board. No, I haven't done anything with that, but I think that one of the things we can do is use the group that we've constructed with Katie to go back to as sort of our core group of people. So to some extent, I guess we've got that a little bit. So.
Right, yeah. And we have like the folks that came to the public forums.
Right.
For the Parks Master Plan, So we have, and then we could build that.
Yeah, I think when we do the public meetings with Katie is the great time to have a separate sign up. If you want to be part of our mailing list, we'll build it off of that. And if
Yeah.
we do set out in public environments, the station, like for Fat and Skinny, we can collect stuff there as well. Katie, one of the things we didn't talk about, if there is one that's sort of self-presenting, if you want to put it that way, the next weekend in the village, or 2 weekends afterwards, is the art fair.
That's June 2nd, I
June
think.
2nd. If the village will allow us to, and I'm pretty sure they will, putting something up there would be huge. That is even more people than Fat and Skinny almost at art fair.
And a different crowd.
It's a different
And a
crowd.
different crowd.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll add that to our list, and I mean,
And if
it
it's
should be
something that
relatively.
is complete and I can put it in my car, I can go set it up. It doesn't even necessarily have to be something you guys do for us. We can certainly do some help in that regard.
Okay, that sounds great. That's really perfect for what we like the mobile display to do. That, we can get it up there, and as long as somebody's willing to be the keeper
Yeah.
of it while it, it can transfer hands certainly, but if it has kind of a home base to come back to, that's really what it's meant to do. That if there's a an event, large or small, and it can move around pretty easily. So we can target using that, and I'll add that event to our schedule.
Perfect.
Yeah, great. And then I just wanted to let folks know, I'm going to miss our scheduled May meeting because I'm out of town for a few weeks. So it's no problem that I miss the meeting. I just want to mention it in case two more of you also need to miss that meeting.
So it's scheduled for May 16th. Does anybody else know if they have any issues?
Okay, good.
I can't very look at my calendar very well right now, but I think I should be able to make it.
Okay.
Hey, the only thing that I had to report to the committee was that at the end of March, I met with the Kiwanis to represent our overview of our program and to share information and gather some feedback, and it was a really good meeting, and it went really well, so just wanted to put that out for the record.
Thanks.
Thank you, Troy.
I do have one more thing.
Oh, Mike's not done yet.
I'm never done. We have talked about this previously. First, I'm excited that the Chinworth extension could be done this year, right? But what we've talked about previously is, do we want to start the engineering process for the continuing the trail out along Old 30 all the way to the county line? And as this project gets accelerated and there's potential, collaboration with Marshall County, I'm still, we still may want to get formal quotes or that process started, however we want to do it, so that if dollars do become available, we have a shovel-ready project to continue.
Why don't we put that formally on the agenda for next month? And maybe we can take some action in regard
Okay.
to that. And decide what we want to do.
That's all I had, I think.
Marcia, anything from the? No fire alarm. No fire alarm? Yes. That'd be the other building. Well, then I will look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Great,
Thank you all online.
thank you.
Thank
Thank you. See ya.
Everybody. Matt, be safe.
Yep.
Recording stopped.
Yeah, we had more to.
So I'll get a hold of Ashley, make sure she's interested, I'll send you her contact information.
Okay, she might want to wait till she starts or something.